for it. She deserved it. She's one of the flyest out there.
Yeah, well, she thinks that of you, too. She named you one of the great loves of her life.
Yeah,
Was she one of yours, too?
Yeah, without a doubt.
You know, these two were dancing together on Instagram Live in 2020, which isn't that far back, so how come J-Lo has been tight-lipped since the whole Diddy trial started? Well, according to New T, she may have been trying to keep things on the low because she allegedly appears in some of the freak-off tapes.
There has been some discussion in this case. When we had opening statements here, we had heard that we are going to see the video of these freak-offs.
Since Diddy's trial started, the moment everyone's been waiting for is a freak-off party video being played in court, and we're going to get it very soon. Don't get me wrong, no one wants to see X-rated videos with strangers, but it's one thing to hear about freak-offs, and it's another to witness them. Cassie has revealed shocking allegations about her experience with Diddy, including how he introduced her to back in 2007, and how the use continued throughout their time together. According to her, pills and always around, and she says he encouraged her to stay under the influence, especially during certain private events. With everything going on, it's hard to believe that Diddy didn't show any of this kind of behavior with Jennifer Lopez. The two dated for 2 years, from 1999 to 2001, and back then they were known as the It couple. Even after breaking up, they had nothing but lovely things to say about each other. It's either that Diddy was a perfect gentleman with J-Lo, or they're both into the same kinds of things, which is what most people on the internet believe. Sure, Cassie dated Diddy for 10 years, but it's strange that the same J-Lo who always had Diddy's back is now being quiet.
J-Lo is just, I don't know. Every man she's been with has said the same thing, except for Diddy. Diddy's the only one that said she was a great girlfriend and how he wish he hadn't messed it up.
Let's go all the way back to the controversy around Diddy and J-Lo's relationship. They were out one night at Club New York, and then boom, gunshots, like actual chaos. Now, here's where it gets messy. Apparently, someone in the club popped off at Diddy, making some slick comment about his money. Things escalated, and next thing you know, Diddy's artist Shine allegedly pulls a gun and starts firing. 3 people get hit. The whole place turns into a scene from a movie. People screaming, ducking, running for their lives. Diddy and J-Lo, they hightail it out of there, leaving everyone behind. But the cops were not playing. They pulled them over just a few blocks away. And guess what? They allegedly found a stolen gun in a car tucked right by Jennifer's feet. They both got arrested and thrown in jail, and the media went absolutely crazy. J-Lo was released after like 14 hours, and her charges were dropped. But Diddy? Oh, he was in deep. There were even allegations that he tried to bribe his driver $50,000 to take the blame for the gun. At this point, J-Lo started going on TV shows, telling everyone that Diddy was innocent and she was there. He didn't do anything wrong.
Your car drove by, saw a female hand throwing a gun out of the
Ridiculous.
car.
I don't even
You're the only female
it.
in the car. You don't want to talk about
Ridiculous.
it? You very confident that Puffy will be found innocent in this trial?
Yes, I will.
You going to testify?
If they need me.
To say she played the part of the perfect girlfriend is an understatement. Diddy's whole empire looked like it might come crashing down because of a silly club fight. But in the end, he walked. He was found not guilty on all charges. Meanwhile, Shine, his protege who followed him to the club, wasn't so lucky. He was painted as the fall guy, got hit with serious charges, and was ultimately convicted. The man did a full 10 years behind bars. All for a night he claimed wasn't entirely his doing. And you know what came next. That scandal was way too hot for J-Lo's rising career. She dipped out of that relationship real quick. She later called it the worst night of her life. And honestly, who could blame her? Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Jennifer Lopez walked, Diddy walked, and only Shine paid the price. So here's the messy question no one really wants to ask. Did J-Lo know more than she let on? Could she have played a part in helping Diddy distance himself from the whole thing? Maybe, maybe not. But when you look at how quickly she separated herself and how cleanly she came out of it, it definitely raises an eyebrow.
Should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
I mean, you hitting it on.
If what Shine says is true, that means that J-Lo would have helped put someone innocent in jail because she did testify in court claiming that Diddy was not the one who shot the gun. Now, years later, Shine has come forward and is speaking loudly. In interviews, he's claimed he took the fall for Diddy and that he was essentially thrown under the bus. According to Shine, he was trying to protect his mentor, but when things went sideways, Diddy allegedly flipped the script and called in witnesses to testify against him. Shine has said outright that he believes Diddy destroyed his life and used him as a scapegoat to save his own skin. And after sitting in prison for a decade, you can bet he's still carrying the weight of that betrayal.
I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he contributed. He pretty much sent me to prison.
What's even more tragic, Shine has maintained his innocence all these years. He insists he didn't fire any shots that night and that the whole thing was a mess that spiraled out of control. He's since rebuilt his life, become a politician in Belize, and moved on from the music game, but the bitterness over what happened is still there. With everything being said in the courtroom, it's not a stretch to think that Diddy would frame someone to save his own skin. In a recent witness statement, an escort nicknamed The Punisher said Diddy was one of his weirder clients. According to Share Hayes, a male exotic dancer, he was booked back in 2012 for what he thought was a basic striptease gig. He says a woman calling herself Janet invited him to Trump Tower, but instead of a crowd of ladies, it was just Cassie Ventura at the door, ready to create what she described as a scene. Hayes claims Cassie handed him $800 and told him to avoid eye contact with her husband once he arrived to watch. Things got slick literally when they started applying baby oil to each other. Then in walks a man, totally nude, but with his face completely covered in what Hayes described as a garment Muslim women wear, only the eyes visible. Excuse me, Diddy was all up in a hijab and nothing else on. That's even creepier than him just showing his face. Hayes says he didn't know who the man was at the time, just that the vibes were intense and secretive. It was obvious that the two were trying to hide their identity, but he didn't clock who they were at the time. Hayes also testified that the masked man didn't speak, didn't interact. He just stood there and allegedly began while holding a bottle of Astroglide. Once done, the man left the room without saying a word. Imagine being instructed to cover yourself in baby oil, have your way with someone's wife, and endure him staring at you without saying anything. Even with a nickname like The Punisher, Hayes said sometimes it was hard to get it up because the whole situation was just creepy. Luckily for him, Cassie gave him another $1,200, and that was that. According to him, similar encounters happened about 8 to 12 more times. And again, these are all allegations, part of sworn testimony, not verified facts. It wasn't until a later booking at the Essex House Hotel that Hayes says he realized the mystery man might have been Diddy, after seeing a welcome sign with Combs' name. This new revelation actually matches what Terrence Howard claimed Diddy did to him. So Terrence sat down on the PBD podcast and casually dropped a bomb that left everyone blinking in slow motion. According to him, Diddy invited him over multiple times, supposedly to talk about acting stuff, coaching, you know, all business. But when he showed up, Diddy was just sitting there, staring at him. No notes, no direction, just vibes.
When you said no. Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me.
Just like the way he stayed at the escort without saying a word. So Terrence, being confused but polite, tries to break the tension and play some of his own music. And guess what? Still nothing from Diddy, just silence. At that point, Terrence just played it off. But then Diddy called a second time to hang out. That's when he turned to his assistant like, what is going on here? And the assistant just flat out says it. I think he's trying to you. According to Terrence, this wasn't about acting. This was about something else entirely.
So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication.
Now, Terrence made it very clear where he stands on the matter. He straight up said he doesn't bend over in that way and made a whole speech about his man card. How he doesn't kiss men on screen, doesn't play gay roles, and doesn't compromise his masculinity. He said once a man gives that up, he can't get it back. So not only did he spill tea on Diddy, he basically threw the whole Hollywood system under the bus too, saying a lot of people have given up their manhood to get ahead. Yikes! And get this, this isn't even the first tension between the two. Remember Terrence's show Empire? Well, it turns out that Diddy allegedly blocked his stepson Quincy Brown from joining the cast. Why? Supposedly because of some behind-the-scenes fight over music rights. Diddy allegedly tried to get the studio to change their rules, and when they didn't, Quincy was out. While he was protecting his son, according to her statements, Diddy was putting Cassie through hell. Allegedly, Cassie says Diddy set up frequent freak-offs, with the longest lasting over 4 days. Hayes wasn't the only escort she was involved with. She was expected to have sex with male sex workers while he watched and filmed. According to her, these encounters involved heavy use and left her feeling completely degraded. She claims he made it seem like this was some kind of private ritual between them, just their thing. Unfortunately, he also convinced her to make videos of these freak-offs and eventually used them to blackmail her when she tried to leave him.
She talked about blackmail materials, so videos that Combs purportedly shot of her during these sexual encounters. She was concerned that they would be published, they would be released. Quote, he had many resources to do that.
Here's the thing, Diddy started dating Cassie when she was just 19 years old, so he had enough time to ease her into the idea of thinking freak-offs were normal in relationships. At some point, Cassie said that she did not have anything financially, and that was why she was deeply tied to Diddy. Most of the things he bought for her and showed off in the media were in his name, and that meant that he knew what she was doing at all times. He had access to her home and got people to monitor her movements so she could hardly think of running away. She also alleges that Diddy was physically violent. In one instance from 2009, she says he stomped on her face so badly she had to hide in a hotel until the swelling went down. And when she tried to move on with Kid Cudi, Cassie claims Diddy got violent and later even threatened to blow up Cudi's car, which, according to reports, did end up exploding. But again, that's an allegation. Nothing has been proven. That's why Kid Cudi rode up into court to testify and give his account of what happened. He testified that back in 2011, after he got a little too cozy with Cassie, who was Diddy's ex at the time, things took a dark turn. Out of nowhere, Cudi's Porsche 911 exploded. Like literally fireball in the driveway exploded. And guess what? Cudi is absolutely convinced that Diddy or someone in his circle was behind it. He said he ended up face to face with Diddy not long after the explosion, and the vibe was chilling. He described Diddy as a Marvel supervillain. You know, smooth on the outside, but you know something dangerous is underneath. Apparently, Diddy denied having anything to do with the fire, but Cudi wasn't buying it. I mean, come on, your car blows up right after Diddy finds out you were seeing his ex? Sounds suspicious. What's wild is that Cudi didn't have concrete proof. It's not like Diddy was caught holding a gas can or something, but he stood firm in his story. And his testimony lined up perfectly with Cassie's earlier claims that Diddy would go full crazy on anyone who crossed him. Cudi's story basically painted a picture of someone who didn't take competition well. Honestly, you have to give it to Cudi for testifying. It's risky stepping up against someone as powerful as Diddy, but he did it. He brought real emotion and real receipts. Whether or not it helps the case land a conviction remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, Kid Cudi didn't hold back. So guess who else dropped some serious tea in court? None other than Dawn Richard from Danity Kane and Dirty Money. She came through with a testimony that had the whole courtroom clutching pearls. Sis didn't just whisper her truth, she served it loud, clear, and straight from the heart. And let's just say, it wasn't pretty. According to Dawn, she witnessed Diddy physically assault Cassie not once, but multiple times. She mentioned an incident where he allegedly threw a skillet at Cassie and another dinner where he supposedly punched her in front of folks like Usher and Neo. Dawn said that when she tried to step in or speak out, Diddy would throw out threats like people go missing. I mean, what kind of mafia mess is that? It's clear that Diddy's past is catching up with him fast, and no one's walking away from this untouched. Whether J-Lo knew what she was getting into back in the day or just got caught in the chaos, this whole situation is unraveling. One thing's for sure, this case is far from over and the receipts are just getting started. Let us know your thoughts in the comments.